And Soul Calibur, and I've said this before, like they look like they do quick feet every morning, like foot drills like every morning, man, because they sidestep quick, man, like really fast. And I mean, that's both good and bad, right?
But Rufamanga was on a podcast, FGC Cast is what the podcast is called. And the interviewer asked him basically, so like somebody just dropped everything in my other room. I'm gonna just keep on talking. He asked Rufamanga like, why is it that Street Fighter is always more popular than Tekken? So he went on to give his answers, but one thing he said that Tekken seems like it was one of the more difficult of the 3D fighters to learn because its movement was a little bit more stiff. He actually said that it seemed a little bit more stiff. And he actually said when it comes to like casual play, a lot of casuals, a lot of like regular people just love Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur was a game that was more casual friendly than Tekken, with 8-way run, his movement, swords, and things of that nature. Casuals had a lot more fun with Soul Calibur than they did Tekken. So we wanted to ask the cast here, do you agree with that statement that Soul Calibur is more of a casual friendly game than Tekken? Do you feel like Tekken was kind of more of the harder 3D fighters to play? We'll give it over to the cast. We'll start with the Soul Calibur. Well, all of us want Soul Calibur back, but we'll start with the man who's more invested in Soul Calibur than the rest of us. MC Amazing, how are you feeling about that statement?
I feel like saying that it's like casual friendly, I think that is kind of accurate, but I would also say that more like specifically, it's more beginner friendly. I think it's a game that's like easy to get into, and then you kind of start like you feel like there's like a natural progression from beginner to like actually learning more advanced techniques, I think, in the game. I think like in Tekken, like they're saying, like the movement is kind of stiff, like because people are very grounded in that game, unless like you're running forward, but moving backwards, like you with the like the Korean backdash, the backdash canceling and all that, like. But if you want to move backwards in Soul Calibur, they just walk backwards, and the way that people like sidestep in Tekken, it's like you sidestep and then they kind of like slowly like continue to sidestep if you hold the button. But I mean, like in Soul Calibur, and I've said this before, like they look like they do quick feet every morning, like they're doing like football like foot drills like every morning, man, because they sidestep quick, man, like really fast. And I mean, that's both good and bad, right? Because then people start doing horizontal moves and you got to hit the brakes and block really quick. But yeah, I think the thing about Tekken is that I think the movement, is kind of, it might be a sticking point for people a little bit. I always thought, to me, that Tekken, and I know this might sound weird, is like a little easier in some ways, because there are a lot of ways, at least like if I knock somebody into the air, and if I know that a move hits like a certain way, and I try to hit them, I can visually see that. I'm not necessarily like counting on like, okay, what the frame data is or anything like that. I'm like, I see where this person is in the air, and like I'm like, okay, I'm hitting with this move that sends them into a tailspin. I run forward, like down forward one, pops them into the air, and then like they're in the air just long enough for me to do forward 2-1, which is, for those of you who play Miguel, that's megawatt uppercut. So same thing with Soul Calibur, though. I think there's a lot of like things that you can just visually confirm, and it doesn't have the added restraint of basically having characters walking in mud, or like having to learn like an extra technique in order to create space between you and your opponent. So yeah, I would say it's like it is casual friendly, but I would also say like it's like beginner friendly, because it's like it puts you in a place where you can learn the basics of the game comfortably. Like it's comfortable to learn the basic stuff of the game, and then you can kind of ramp up, learning like doing like other stuff. Like I remember like it took me a while to get to the point where I hit a wall playing Astaroth, because I was just doing all types of crazy stuff. I would do like like he has like a move where he jumps over and he does like a grab, and it's like he jumps forward and grabs, and if you're crouching, that you get grabbed, right? But most of the time people aren't going to just be randomly crouching. But what I would do is I would just like use it as a way to, like, if I knock somebody down, I would immediately do that, and then it erases the space between me and them, and I'm standing right next to them. They stand up, and I immediately go for a grab. Did you guess right? Okay, good. Take some damage. Did you guess wrong? Okay, get grabbed. You know, and I mean that was just like stuff that I naturally did as the game progressed. Like I started first, I was just like, oh, I'm just going to use horizontal attacks. Now I'm going to grab you. Then I'm going to do this, and then it's like, oh, now I'm going to do like my soul charge attack, and then I'm going to like do like my spinning move, and then I'm going to like grab you while you're going onto the ground and then coil you around the thing. You know, I feel like it was like it's easier to progress to a like a higher level in terms of skill level in that game, because like it's a lot less restrictive in my opinion. So that's my Soul Calibur opinion.
You got it, Mr. Gamer List?
I'm be honest. I think so. I've had probably Soul Calibur is probably the game I play the most behind. Played Street Fighter and Marvel. I think. Played like 4 and 5. Like I played those games like they were going out of style. I think they're kind of closer to me in my opinion. I do think there's some things in Soul Calibur that are a little more just from the basis on the jump friendly, more friendly to like a new character. The movement, the dashing is just a lot more intuitive than Tekken. I think there's no Korean backdash. There is some advanced movement in that game, like guard dashing and stuff like that. Like you can kind of like cancel a guard when you dash to kind of get across the screen faster. There's even things like feints, and there's actually feints in Soul Calibur, which I don't know if people really realize. You just simply press an attack button and press guard, and you can like kind of fake people out. There's some stuff like that in Tekken, but there's not really an intuitive thing because Tekken doesn't have a guard button. Also, another thing, guard buttons is kind of a thing that kind of to me adds an extra layer because you have to guard at the right time. It's just an extra button you have to press. With Tekken, you can just guard like without even holding anything, like a neutral guard, or you can hold back. But yeah, I think I think they're close. They're pretty close. There's a lot of stuff in Soul Calibur like like so on a base level, I think they're pretty similar because both of them have the chain input style. And for those of you who don't know, chain is just like when you press a button one after the other, the move comes out. If there's a string in Tekken, you press 1 2 1 or 1 2 3, it's just gonna come out. There's no links really in Tekken. There's some stuff that's a little more akin to links and stuff like that. But there's no links in Tekken. There's really no links in Soul Calibur as compared to like your traditional 2D fighters, like something like Street Fighter or King of Fighters. It's just really chains. Like in Street Fighter, you can't just press like unless they have a target combo. That's really that's how you compare it to a 2D fighter. Target combos is basically how Tekken and Soul Calibur's input system works fully. You press a sequence of buttons and it comes out. But there's a lot of nuances. You got characters like Valdo. Like if you have a well-versed Valdo, you're gonna get body because that character's doing so much in so many levels. You don't know what he's doing. He's rolling on the floor. He's back grabbing you. He's one of the few characters that can tech back grabs, and you'll be like, you'll play a Astroth or a Valdo and try to grab him from behind. It's like, wait, well, how did he tech that? And you just don't know. Oh, they're one of the few characters that can tech back throws. So just little nuances like that. The vertical and horizontal stuff. Even honestly, the 8-way movement in that game is still pretty like advanced because like there's attacks you can do, like it'll show you like different ways to do like 8-way movement attacks on the thing, and you just choose which one you want. But there's also like shortcuts to that. You can double tap down, back, and you can get like a move that if you press double tap back, you get the same attack. So knowing like those little shortcuts, even the combo routes, I know specifically in Soul Calibur 4, you had to know how to do combos. You like if you got a stun, you had to lead it. You had to follow up with a proper move that actually kept them in stun. You couldn't do a certain move because it would knock them out of the combo. Like Mitsurugi like has some crazy stun combos in 4, but you can only do them if you did the right route. You had to do like sequencing. So that's something that like Tekken doesn't really have. Like Tekken has like counter hits. You can like if you react to them, you can do it, but it's nothing like okay, this move just puts you in stun like in like because they had like these little electricity particle effects that you would see when you hit the right move. So yeah, I 5 kind of got away from that a little bit. Then you got guard impacts. Then you got in 5 they had the just impact. So it's like there's a lot going on in both of these games, in my opinion. I think Korean backdash is something that like you can use that and be okay. I don't think you necessarily have to have it for a beginner to kind of get competent at the game, but it's definitely one of those things where you want to get better and be able to be more efficient. You probably have to learn it. Electric Wind Guy Fist. That's a thing that's kind of it's not the hardest, but it's super hard to be consistent with that move. So yeah, I mean, and even like the throws in Soul Calibur, that Ivy, like in 4, Ivy was a menace in 4. You had a character like Hilda. Hilda was one of the hardest fighting game characters I've seen to play. Like she had this hold the button and then let go. It was a very weird style. She was like busting in that game, but it was pretty hard to pilot that character. Ivy had this throw that's like a map to Timbuktu and back, and it's like most people ain't gonna know. They gonna look at that input and be like, I ain't doing that. That's too much. I don't think there's any grabbing Tekken that's like that. Like Soul Calibur got some of the most ridiculous throw inputs. I'm just like, all right, y'all just doing everything right here.
I mean, like, but what about King and like the rolling death cradle and like all those chain grabs that he does?
Well, yeah, King is like he's like the equivalent to that, I guess. And I still feel like even that's just like remembering like just a button sequence. It is hard to break that stuff. Even like the throw techs in these games are kind of similar because in Tekken it's right or left. In Soul Calibur it's a little different. I think it's like
front or back.
You just have it's front or back. So it's kind of like Mortal Kombat. So it's still a 50-50. You just have to like see okay, I'm at the edge of the stage. This person have a grab that can toss me off the stage. Or they have a grab that can toss me off the stage from them facing the back of the stage, like Secret. Like if you play against Secret, you got if he's on the facing the stage ring out, he's gonna probably go for that little scoop. So you got to know how to break that. So stuff like that. Even the ring outs adds a extra level of just like depth to it. Like okay, I gotta keep myself away from the edge. I gotta know throw text, all this stuff like that. So I would say they're pretty similar, but I get why he would say the Soul Calibur was more beginner friendly. Like I said, the movement's a lot more intuitive, but they're pretty similar to me from my experience.
Well, man. Finally, Rexon has come back to having a turn. My goodness.
Nobody
thought I wasn't gonna be able to speak. But my comrades here have really broke it down and find scientific detail and stuff like that, going in depth of the games and like which one is more complicated than the other. But really at the end of the day, when you're talking about which one is more casual friendly, you're really talking about which one can a casual person get in, hit a couple do's and dats and these buttons in a row, and they could possibly end up winning. And I kind of understand where he's coming from with saying Soul Calibur is more casual friendly than Tekken, because it all boils down to like what he said, like 8-way run. Just a lot of times when you have more freedom of movement in the game, it just makes it a lot more easy for casuals. Like for example, when you're playing a game like Street Fighter, I remember when I was trying to learn how to do the Raging Demon. If you just sat there and did the inputs, it's just pressing a lot of buttons really quickly in succession. But if you didn't know how to do it, you could easily just be sitting there with a Kuma just throwing out a light punch, throwing out a light kick, and literally just standing in the same place. It's not like you're gonna get a move that's gonna make a Kuma move from here to there, get up in the other person's face. You could literally sit in one spot looking like a dummy, just pressing a bunch of buttons, and somebody could be whiff punishing you and all that other stuff. In Tekken, it's a little bit more easier because it's a 3D game. In 3D games, you could throw out moves like, let's just say you play Eddie. You could just tap a lot of buttons and he's gonna move around. He might track the person. Hit. Have moves that kind of go all over the place. The movement is a little bit more fluid. But then when you get to a game like Soul Calibur, like what E was saying with like Astaroth, like I could have moves where I could take my axe and literally like swing it in the air, hit you, launch you in the air, hit a couple buttons, like hit you around some more. You go over there, press forward. I can literally run at you and stuff like that, hit another big button and all this other stuff. Like I literally got moves I could jump and grab you and stuff like that. So you know, with the game being more fluid and movement like that, it's more like lenient towards like casuals to get in and just start hitting a bunch of stuff and I can make something happen. You know, even with the ring outs and like Soul Calibur, like that can make it easier for somebody to like actually end up getting a win because if I could just get you to the stage, I mean, it was plenty of times people not knowing how to get away from you. They're like, "Oh, I'm by the stage," and you just like, "Yeah," and you finna go off the stage too. And it's like you just go ahead and get a win because they like, "How I get away from the stage?" And it just hits you, and then like ring out. And I literally have moves to where it's like, you know, I can hit you in so many different directions in Soul Calibur. Like I can literally hit you like after I've had a move, I can literally hit you to the side, and it's like you just go off like sideways off the stage. You know, so with like just that freedom of movement and the moves being able to freely move and stuff like that in Soul Calibur, more than the other games I mentioned, it can make it a lot more casual friendly for somebody to get in and feel like they actually doing something, you know. And then we know in 3D games, like their buttons can kind of be like a little bit more simplistic than like Street Fighter. Like, you know, somebody can mash and mash and mash all day. Like, if you don't do that motion with the like the dragon input, the dragon motion input or the Hadouken input, is not coming out. You know, so that's why modern controls have made stuff a lot easier. It wasn't like that back in the day. I can remember like shaking and jerking the controller all over the place and just asking my cousins, like, this Hadouken won't come out. Like, what am I doing wrong? This super won't come out. What am I doing wrong? Like, you will never luck your way into a raging demon. But the simple controller, the controls going to like 3D games that you would get a lot of times, especially in Soul Calibur, you could do a lot more. So I agree with him. Now he also said in his in this interview that he felt like, you know, games like Street Fighter are more casual 2D fighters are more casual friendly than like 3D fighters. I don't agree with that. I've always thought 3D fighters were more casual friendly than 2D fighters because a lot of times with 2D fighters, it's a lot more stricter inputs and stricter movement, you know, on that 2D plane. So yeah, I feel like I can see what you're saying with Soul Calibur being more casual friendly than Tekken. I mean, it is easy to pick up. I mean, how many people you know like barely know anything about Soul Calibur, but everybody loves Nightmare. Everybody loves to get Nightmare, take that big sword and just start swinging it all over the place. You know, people just love Nightmare. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of casuals like Soul Calibur. A lot of people enjoy Soul Calibur. A lot of people will tell you that they feel like Tekken, I mean, even pros will tell you Tekken is like, you know, a game that is kind of hard to advance to other levels and stuff like that. So I get where he's coming from when it comes to Soul Calibur being more casual friendly than Tekken. You know, makes it more even that I feel like it makes it that much even more of an amazing game than, you know, everybody can get in and have fun. But you know, you're still gonna have that gap, you know, between people who actually take it serious, learn, you know, go to that intermediate level, you know. But yeah, Voldo sucked too. Every time his name come up, I'm gonna go say something negative about Voldo. He trash. Go put some clothes on. You always in your drawers
Oh my
with
goodness.
something in your mouth. What is wrong with you? You've been in the cave doing all types of crazy stuff, bro. Get your life together. Repent.
Oh man.
Change your ways. I don't know what you had going on, bro. Like every time somebody run up on you, you got some type of a different sword on your hand. What convenience store are you shopping at to have all this random stuff on your hand and you live in a cave, bro? Where you getting these outfits? What is your life like? I mean, my goodness. Like, anyway, anybody else got anything to add?
Yeah. You know, when you're talking about like the concept of yeah, like being casual friendly, like yeah, the inputs, yeah, especially in like Tekken, not so much as in what you call it in Soul Calibur, because there are a whole lot of like motion inputs, like, you know, all of like the more like advanced moves, like they're like quarter circle back, quarter circle forward, like grabs and stuff like that, what have you. But in like Tekken, you know, most of the moves are like directional inputs, like down back one, down forward four, all that good stuff. So, but then again, like in Soul Calibur, there are also directional inputs and stuff, like you just said, like back was it back horizontal moves, back like double tap the backwards vertical for like the Astaroth, where he like hangs back like he's about to slam the axe down, and then I mean, you start doing that, right? And then of course, eventually, people are going to start sidestepping because they don't want to get hit by that. It's an unblockable. So then, like, you eventually get to the point where, like, you talk like what Devin was talking about. You start doing feints, right? So you started. I mean, like, there was a thing that was taught to me by one of my buddies. We actually met at what was it? Defend the North, like back in 2019, craziest, and he was like, oh, what you could do here is you do the unblockable, and then when they start sidestepping, you immediately cancel, and then you go into Astaroth Super. So they might still see the flames around his feet from the unblockable, but oftentimes it doesn't click that, oh wait, he's about to grab me for like a quarter of my health right now. It's actually, I mean, but that's like stuff that you just kind of like you tour around and you figure out. It's like, I don't know, it I really enjoy. I kind of like it, even talking about it right now makes me really wish that we, had a new Soul Calibur game on the horizon, because it's just like, dang man, like I really, I might just go and like play some Soul Calibur 6 today, because I really miss playing Soul Calibur, man.
It's so hard
Yeah,
to say goodbye to yesterday.
I'm stress eating now.
You got it, Devin.
Man,
Voldo, you a weird dude, man. Your launcher is literally you like ab flexing on all like hands and knees, and then just bouncing us in that. What type of stuff you been doing to get your abs that strong, bro? What you been doing? What you in that cave doing, man? Get your life together, man. Who thought of that character, bro? Every time he come up, I get frustrated. And, a lot of people be online and stuff, be like, man, there's just characters you have problems with. So when somebody traumatized you, don't you have an issue with them? I got sick of seeing them. Every time I got to go through story mode, I'm trying to live my life with Raphael, enjoying myself, and then this dude just come up. Like, bro, like, go, like, relax, man. What's wrong with you? Why you so loose? What you been doing, bro? Why you dressed like that? Take that out your mouth, bro.
And you know what he's gonna say to you?
I mean, he was.
They got medicine for that cough, bro. That sore throat you got.
So,
they got something for that. But yeah, if you also want to be like a super casual player, just pick Maxi and start swinging for the heels.
And you see, that's why I say these games are similar. That's to me, honestly, there's no difference for casual, because casuals don't care about moving. Casuals only care about hitting buttons. How many times I've seen so many times people pick how wrong, or Eddie and be like, I'm the best player ever. They're just mashing buttons. I've seen it so many times. I can't even recollect all of them. Every time they don't care about movement. It don't matter what's going on. They just
hitting those buttons allow you to move. That's why I say like it's just some moves like it's a little bit more in Soul Calibur than it is Tekken, and definitely those 3D fighters more than like Street Fighter or 2D games. Like when you just do random moves, they allow you to move and follow your opponent. And it's like,
but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's Tekken. And he's saying it's so. I've seen that way more in Tekken than I have in Soul Calibur. Maxi is equivalent. But both of these games, you can just do the same thing and really just press buttons and things come out and cool stuff happens. But I have seen this the most with Eddie Gordo and How Wrong.
Well, but Eddie's just the cheapest character they ever made if you didn't know how to block low.
I mean, it's just one of them things, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, those two characters, Lily, she's another character you can do that with. It's a lot of characters in Tekken that you just press buttons with, and you're like, oh, I play. Nah, you just know how to press a few buttons. You looked up and got this move. That's why I say both of them are really the same to me. Because like the movement is different, but it's not. The movement is different, but it's not just worlds apart. And like I said, the casuals, they don't care about movement. They just pressing buttons. It's like you get Maxi and you just start what just you get Eddie just do the little spinning on the ground, capoeira, you get how wrong. Two of the hardest characters to actually play and learn properly. But to casuals, those are what you want. Because you got a casual playing against another casual and they don't know what to do, they're gonna get bodied by that. So that's really when you mentioned Max and I thought about how wrong and Eddie, I'm like, I think they're on the same level. If I had to say, I'd say Tekken is more introductory because it's just like some characters you press buttons with, and it's like, hey, bro, we got it, man.
Yeah.
Fang Wei, he's not a character. And like, he's a really good character. He does a lot of damage. Just go and press buttons with Fang Wei. You just Lily, she's doing all this flipping and dipping.
Yeah, but it's just as many characters in Soul Calibur that you could like Maxi, Voldo, Nightmare, Sephiroth, Talum. You could just be swinging stuff with her, and she jumping and hitting you down, and all this other stuff. So I mean, it's just amount. It's both, but I still think just that 8-way run though really like sets it apart because you do have some people like. Just be like, man, stop running. I mean, in Soul Calibur, it makes it a lot easier for you to literally run from your opponent when I can just literally just freely like Naruto head straight towards you running. You can't do that as much as like in other games.
You can run in Tekken. Like if they both work something, you're far back enough, you can run.
Yeah, but it's just not. It's still more stiff than Soul Calibur, though.
Yeah. I would say that like in Soul Calibur, like you can kind of run from any distance, just about. Like you can be like right there, and then like, yeah, I mean, and then in addition to that, the sidestepping. Like, I mean, in order to even because like if you press down on the D-pad with in Tekken, you just crouch. You know what I mean? In order to like actually start sidestepping, you gotta like you have to double tap down or double tap up, and they sidestep, and then they start like slowly sidestepping. If you hit like the down button in Soul Calibur, you immediately just start like sidestepping. You immediately
or like if I wanted to run away from you in Tekken, like it's like I literally can't almost unless I know a Korean backdash, which most casuals ain't gonna learn.
That's why I said casuals don't care about none of this that we talking about. They just try to press buttons. Because you know how you crouch in Soul Calibur? You press down and guard. That's already something that people like, now I got to press a button to block and crouch. That's already something like, well, I'm going to just dodge that move or duck it. It's like, well, how do I duck? I thought I pressed down and duck. No, you got to press down and guard to duck in Soul Calibur. I still think
you were ducking a lot in Soul Calibur. I guess I was that good. I ain't have to. I was just molly whopping folks.
No, you definitely ducking. You ducking to avoid grabs and punish people. Yeah.
I ain't had no competition enough to make me duck there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you play at Chuck E. Cheese's, man. Like,
who was playing Soul Calibur at Chuck E. Cheese? See, you got my voice getting high pitched. Don't make me. Don't
Weenie Hut Juniors.
Don't be disrespecting me, dog.
You definitely ducking when you playing against some of the. I remember. I don't know if you guys
joking,
still play.
I know because if you had to play against a Raphael with all that, you definitely have to know how to duck. Like
now, that's a casual. Crazy? That's a casual character right there, Raphael. Oh my god!
You know what? We can move on to the next
topic. Oh my god! I forgot
the blaspheme. Y'all about the blaspheme.
You got Maxium and Raphael and Soul.
We've already spent 20 minutes on this topic. We got another one. We got to move forward.
Thank you. Somebody else
blaspheme. You
somebody else know. Square, triangle, square. And that's the same thing people do in Tekken, and that's why they're the same. That's why I said they're the same.
Listen, man, there's nothing wrong with the character being casual friendly. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like you said, everybody has to start somewhere, because the minute you start playing somebody who knows what they're doing, you're probably going to get bodied anyway. So then you decide, then you have to make a decision about whether or not you want to go from being and I know this might sound weird. It's like, do you want to go from being a casual to being a beginner, I guess, if that makes sense? Somebody who's actually making an attempt to learn how to play the game, instead of this kind of a fly-by-night kind of situation. It's like, I'm hitting, because if you're playing Raphael, especially in Soul Calibur 2, let's be honest, on a casual level, all you really had to do was hit vertical over and over again. You just do that, and then people keep trying, and then the other person's a casual too, and they're gonna try to hit you, and what's gonna happen? They're gonna get hit in the face. They're gonna
Well, Devin is known for liking and playing Rudy Poo characters, so his opinion don't matter. But Mr. Gaming, Mr. MC Rudy Amazing, I liked Astaroth, so I wanted to slander Astaroth, but I can't. I like Astaroth, so
I'm
I
not
played
slandering Raphael. I'm just saying, bro. Everybody's got to start somewhere. Is what I'm
I
saying.
played
Like,
Killick and Zazamil, bro. Those are goats. What you talking about, bro? Sophidia? They goats, man.
by the way, I think the guy that plays the Solomel is the narrator for the story stuff in City of the Wolves. I think.
Could be that voice is also somewhere else. I've heard some other game or show.